Hi guys, we are going to be making this vertical splash bag by Parker on the Porch. This is what it looks like. This is the 5x7 size. That one, and I made this one, and I made this one too over here. I'm going to be using these to store my kids' card games. It's a cute little thing. You can see the game through the front. I bought my daughter a few games for Easter, so this is going to be one of her Easter presents. I just put the game inside of there so your whole game can stay together. And I'm going to store it in this little bin right here that I got from Joann's. This is what it looks like. Okay. And so I'm going to make a bunch of these and put their card games in it, but these are the brand new cards. I bought them a couple new card sets. They have some different ones. So this is the 5x7 bag. So I'm going to use these and then just store it in there. So I'm going to show you some of the materials that we're going to use. My splash bag, this vertical splash bag, is not going to be used near water. So I'm just using regular fabric. And it's more, I'm using it more as like a peekaboo bag. But we are going to make one together, and we are going to use something that makes it an actual water resistant bag. You can use Oxford fabric or Pull, P-U-L. It's fabric that people use to make the diaper covers. So this is Pull from, I got these fabrics from SAHARA. They were an online business, but they have closed since, but that's where I bought these. This is Oxford, and this is Pull, I believe. They're both waterproof fabric. So we're going to be using these to make our splash bag. And then you also need a clear vinyl right here. This is 12 gauge vinyl, and I bought it on the roll from Joann's. They have huge rolls. It kind of looks like this. I'm going to move you a minute. It looks like this, and they all have different colors. It's on these big rolls. See? And each color, the outside, it's labeled at the Joann's. Each color has a different number, and the higher number you go, the thicker the plastic is. I would not go lower than 12. If you go lower than 12 and you're flipping these bags, it tears out of your bag. So we have determined that you need to at least do 12 gauge. Okay. So that is what we're going to be using, 12 gauge. I'm probably going to use some fold over elastic, and I'm going to use a LOBSTER clasp. It looks like this. I'll talk about it when we get to it. But let's get to our machine and get started. I'm going to show you how to put this together. Okay, guys, I'm on my machine. I have my 5x7 hoop, one sheet of tearaway. I'm going to go ahead and do the first step, which is always to stitch the placement step directly on to your stabilizer. I'm going to do that. I'll come back and show you. Okay, guys, this is what that placement stitch looks like. Let me take this off my hoop so I can show you a little bit right here. Okay, looks like that. We're going to focus on this top part right now. We are going to be placing our zipper between these lines. This center line should line up with the center part of your zipper right here where your zipper teeth are. I just put mine between these two lines, and I'm usually good to go. You want your zipper pull and your zipper end on the outside of your stitch lines. That's how you know you have a big enough zipper. You can have a super long zipper if that's all you have. We cut off the excess later. You just have to have it big enough to get past your stitch lines so the foot of your machine can get by here without hitting either the pull or the end. So this is fine. Now, if you want your bag to open from this direction, keep your pull over here. If you want it to open the other way, just flip your zipper where your pull's over here. Okay, so I'm going to just line up right here at the very edge of these stitch lines right here. You see that? I'm just going to line up all the way across. Once I'm evenly across where I can just barely see that, you can tape either side or you can hold it. I'm just going to hold as it stitches. The next step goes ahead and stitches right here, tacking your bottom part of your zipper to your stabilizer. Then it jumps your zipper teeth and it goes ahead and does a line up here. I'm going to go ahead and run that. I'll come back and show you. Okay, guys, this is what it looks like. It went ahead and tacked down the zipper on the top and the bottom. You can see the stitch lines. It's down to your stabilizer, so we are good to go. Now we're going to be using these placement stitch lines to determine the size of our fabric, okay? So you are going to need several pieces of fabric. Let me get here. You are going to need 6 to be exact. You're going to need this piece right here. and you're gonna need the liner piece right there. Then you're gonna need the top part right there, and then there's a liner right underneath it that we place. And then you're gonna need the back of your bag, and then this is considered the front of your bag that peeks through. And then you're gonna need your piece of vinyl too. So we are gonna go ahead and show you how to measure that. I'm making the 5 by 7. If you're making a different size, then this is just how you figure it out. So you're gonna need 4 pieces of fabric the same size, 2 for here, 2 for here on the bottom. So I go ahead and take my ruler and I measure from my zipper up, and then I kind of add some because we're gonna do a flip. So I just add a little. You guys know I'm not very frugal with my fabric. I'd rather have too much than too little. Okay, so you measure that way, and then your width, of course. You need 4 of those. They can be different fabrics. I have all 4 of mine the same. I have this one, and then there's the liner, and there's the bottom, and there's the liner. Okay, and then you're going to need a piece of fabric that is your front and back. So from the bottom stitch line all the way to the top stitch line, and then your width. You're going to need one for the front, which ends up being the the fabric that peeks through the clear vinyl. That's called the front. And then you're going to need a piece the same size for the back. It can be a different color, whatever you want. So I have that piece right here, and I have another piece right here, okay? And then you're gonna need a piece of that vinyl, and the piece of the vinyl needs to be, the size is from right underneath your zipper, and this doesn't fold, so you can be a little more exact on here so you don't waste, but right underneath your zipper down to this line, you need to be a little bit below that line, and then the width. That's how big of the piece of clear vinyl that you need. Okay, so the very first step that we're going to do now that we have all our fabric, we're going to go ahead and place this top portion with the liner at the same time. So how we do that, I'm going to flip my hoop over. You can see that I wrote underneath right here, and then this is the top, so we know what the top is. Okay, so if you have directional fabric, I don't have directional fabric for these, but if you do, then you're going to remember, well, neither one of these really look directional. Okay, so what you're going to want to do, let me put hearts here. I really should use directional fabric on these so it's easier. But so what you're going to do, say the hearts, my hearts go both directions, that's why it's not directional, but you want your direction to face towards you. Let's see if I do this. Go ahead and do, we're going to go like this. You're going to want them to be basically like this. This is, say this is the right direction facing you. Say hearts were going this way, like this. You're going to flip it upside down, and then you're going to place it right above this line right here, and you're going to tape it. So when it does a line right here, it's ultimately going to flip up like this, and you're going to want the direction going towards you, okay? So that's how you would place directional. So I'm just going to go ahead and place this here. I'm going to tape this where they're on the underneath of our hoop. You have right sides facing your hoop, right sides down. Okay. And you are going to tape this like this. Okay. Now you're going to flip your hoop over to the front. You're going to place it the exact same way. Okay. So if I had the right facing me like this, you're going to go ahead and flip it over like this. The right side of your fabric is facing down towards your hoop. Once it stitches the next line, sorry, my dogs are barking, you're going to flip it up so the right side's going to be facing you in the end, okay? So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and tape this. You can hold this top because you're on the top of your hoop, or you can tape it. I'm going to tape it. The next step is going to just stitch one line across right here, tacking the liner to your stabilizer with the top as well. And then I will show you what we do next. I'm going to go to the machine and run step 3. Okay guys, it went ahead and stitched that one line like I said. You can see that it tacked down the underneath liner and the front top fabric. So what you're going to do next is you're going to take this tape off. I'm on the front of my hoop. You're going to flip it up. Now this is what I was talking about, flip. Make sure your fabric gets past these stitch lines. If it did not, then you need to seam rip this in, get a bigger piece of fabric. Okay, I always have excess fabric. Okay, So you're gonna flip it up like this. You're just gonna, I'm gonna hold that because it's easier to hold that one. But the bottom one, I'm flipping my hoop underneath. You're gonna basically be doing these at the exact same time. So let me get this tape up, okay? You're gonna pull this up. You just want it straight and flat so it looks nice. And then you're gonna tape these down, okay? Like that. I'm just going to tape this top fabric. You're on the underneath the hoop, so you're going to want to tape it pretty well. So that's what that looks like. I'm going to flip it over. Now I'm going to go to the machine, and while my machine runs, I'm going to just kind of hold this out of the way. The next step is going to stitch right around that placement up here. It's just going to stitch this curve, tacking the two fabrics down to your stabilizer, okay? So I'm going to go run that. I'll come right back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like right here. It went ahead and tacked that down. You can see that it did the line all the way on there on the top of your hoop. That's the front top. If you flip your hoop over, it did the same for the back. You can see that. I just keep this all taped down. You don't want it getting into anything, so make sure you have this taped well. And I also was going to remind you, when you put this back on your hoop, make sure that this fabric didn't flip up or anything. I always check the underneath of my machine before I run that step. Okay, now the next step is to place this clear vinyl right here. So I have a piece of clear vinyl right here. If your vinyl's super wrinkly, mine gets wrinkly because it's all like squished up in my corner, I go ahead and iron it, but I take like double of my fabric, like just a woven fabric, and then I just kind of iron over it really quick, and it flattens it right back out so it's not all wrinkly. Mine gets really wrinkly, okay? So you just want a big enough piece that goes ahead and fits right under your zipper past this line, and the width has to be bigger than here, okay? So I'm gonna go to the machine. The next step's just gonna go ahead and tack this down in the square, and I will come back and show you what we do next. Okay, I'm on my machine. I just wanted to show you I line it up right here underneath the zipper. I have a big piece. I'm going to cut the excess off later, but I did want to let you know you will see the thread on this in the end. So if you don't want it to be super bright and stand out, make sure to use a thread color that matches your zipper. And I'm going to show you the difference. So on this one, I used a hot pink on my yellow zipper, so you can see that hot pink really brightly. On this one, I use the hot pink thread, so you don't notice it as much because it's the same color as the zipper. So I just wanted to point that out, so when you're picking your thread colors for this next step, step 5, you made the choice on what you wanted it to look like. Okay, I will show you when it's done. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. It went ahead and tacked down your vinyl. I'm going to go ahead and just cut off this bottom part that we don't need. This, just some of this extra to get it out of the way. Okay, you can see just like that, it's still there. I just got the bulk out of there. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and place this bottom piece. We're going to do both the liner and the bottom front piece at the same time. So I'm going to flip my hoop upside down. Okay, now you're not really going to see this. It's hard to see it. It's this bottom in here, this bottom inside, like there's a piece on the inside too, so it's really hard to see it, but I'm going to go ahead and place it like this. I'm going to tape it down. Now I have the right sides facing the stabilizer, or the stabilizer. Then what's going to happen when you flip it towards you, that would be the right side. You want the right. Say if hearts were going this way towards you, if you're flipping it like this, you want them to be facing you when you flip it, okay? So if that makes sense. So right side's down, okay, like that. And go ahead, remember when you put this back on your hoop to make sure that this doesn't flip up or anything, okay? Then you're gonna flip this over. You're gonna do the exact same thing on the front. You're gonna go ahead and place right sides down. So if this, you're going to want the right sides towards you. So if this was hearts towards me, then you're going to go ahead and flip it upside down. You're going to put it right below this line, like that. So once it stitches that one line, tacking these two down, when you pull this down, the right side's going to be facing you, the directional fabric, okay? I'm gonna tape this. You could just hold this piece since it's on top of your hoop, but I'm gonna go to the machine. It's gonna run that one straight line, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, here's what it looks like. It went ahead and did that line right there. There's the top of your hoop. Here's the underneath of your hoop. Stay on the underneath of your hoop. Go ahead and pull your tape off. Now we're going to do the same thing that we did up here. We're going to go ahead and pull this down, make it flat and smooth, and secure it with tape. Get one more piece of tape. Okay, so that's all perfect there. Now it's going to go ahead and do that same shape. It's just going to do this curve right here, tacking it to your stabilizer. So go ahead and flip your hoop over. Do the same here. You can see when you're flipping this if your fabric's directionally the correct way. If it's not, seam rip it and go ahead and place it the correct way. If it's not, if it can't cover this placement stitch, it means you didn't have a big enough piece of fabric. So go ahead and seam rip it and put a bigger piece of fabric, okay? So those are some things you can do if you did mess up. This I'm just gonna hold like this. I hold it like this while the machine does the curve. I get it tighter and smoother, but you can get it placed just right and then tape if you would like. The next step's gonna go ahead and just do that curve. So I'm gonna go ahead and run that. I will come back and show you. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. It went ahead and stitched there. That's what your back looks like right there, the underneath of your hoop. We're looking good. Okay, now we are gonna put the front of our bag on. So what you're gonna do is open your zipper. Always open your zipper when you put the back of your bag on like this. It's going to go ahead and seal it. So you have got to open this zipper. Now you want it open far enough that you can flip through this hole, but not so far that the foot of your machine will hit your zipper pull. So just like that, you can see your foot of your machine is going to be running along this placement line several times, and you don't want it to hit that pull, okay? So we are going to do a couple things. If you want to add anything that hangs off your bag, this is when you do it. So you can see I have this up here. I put this here so if my daughter wants to clip this to her backpack and she could have an Uno game with her at all times, she could do that. I thought that would be kind of cool. So she can actually use this for other things. And then I put a little cute thing right here. I plan to make a charm, and then I can use the ball chain and put it through here and have a little charm hanging if I want. If I wanted to go ahead and label this Uno, I could put a little charm and put Uno on it, and so it says Uno. You can see it through the clear, so I don't know what I'm going to add yet, but I just added that so I have the option later. Okay, so what you go ahead and do is I'm going to take this D swivel lobster clasp. I'm using fold over elastic. You can use ribbon, you can use a vinyl piece if you want, a piece of vinyl. You could go ahead and make your own bias tape and do it. What you're gonna do is I'm placing mine along the top. I kind of want it to be in the center, so I just kind of eyeball where I want it. I'm gonna place it like that. I'm gonna go ahead and tape it. Now, depending on how long you want this to be, if you want it to be really long, like your fold over elastic really long, you'd place it this way more, so there's more of the fold over elastic inside your bag. If you want it shorter, you'd place it this way. You do need to have enough room that when the foot of your machine gets by here, it doesn't hit your metal, okay? So keep that in mind. So I'm gonna go ahead and place that like that, and I'm just taping it. You want the hardware on the inside of your bag. Everything you place on the inside of your bag gets kept. If you place it on the outside, it's going to get cut off, so don't do that. Now I'm going to place that little loop. I'm just taking fold over elastic. I'm going to go ahead and loop it. I have the pretty right sides on the outside, so wrong side together like this. The right side's on the outside. Now, depending on what you want to see, for example, this one had a little paw print and I wanted to just see that one paw. I went ahead and I placed that very exact. I went ahead and so if the little paw was right here, that's what side goes down, because this flips, and whatever you have facing down is what you're going to see on the front of your bag, okay? So keep that in mind when you're placing anything right here. If you're placing your business tag, a lot of people have little tags that have their business name on it. You would want your name facing down, okay? So I went ahead and did that. Now that's all I'm placing on this bag. I have my zipper open. I'm going to go ahead and take the print of my bag. If you wanted it the right side, you would do it like this. If the hearts were facing me, remember the design faces you is the right way. Then you flip it over so right sides are together. That's how you do your directional fabric, okay? So I'm going to hold it. You can tape it if you're a taper. I'm just going to go ahead and hold it. It's going to stitch completely around all of your placement lines, the whole outside of the bag, several times, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, guys, this is what it looks like. It went ahead and sealed this top part of the bag. So we're going to go ahead and flip our hoop upside down. We are going to take our last piece of fabric and we're going to be putting it face down. Now, so right sides would be facing you, the directional. The hearts would be going this way, your fabric. Then you're going to go ahead and flip it like this, okay? So now we're going to go ahead and tape this down. Just make sure you get past all your placement stitches. It's going to basically stitch the exact same thing it just stitched. It's just going to leave a whole opening down here that we can flip through, okay? So go ahead and get this on and go ahead and stitch the very last stitch step, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, guys, this is what it looks like. Here's the top of your hoop. Here's the bottom of your hoop. You can go ahead and take it off now. All this tape on here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take my stabilizer off, the outside for now. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn this way. You can see that there's no stitches right here, so you need to cut at an angle. I cut like this up to those stitch lines without cutting any of them. And then I turn and cut around. Now we're cutting off our excess zipper right there. Okay, I'm going to cut around. Oops. Some fabric folded over, so I'm going to just cut it. Doop, doop, doop. Okay, I'm going to cut some of this off right here. Okay, I'm going to find the liner, which is these two. I know these are the liner because there's a hole between it, so those two we need because we're going to use those to help close that hole. And I'm just going to cut off this excess right here. Okay, now you're going to go ahead and flip through this hole. It's a little bit difficult, only not that the fabric's thick, but you have that vinyl in there, and this is the vertical. The horizontal is a little easier because you're flipping kind of more through the side. This, you're flipping that whole length of the bag through this hole, so just take your time. This is the smaller size too, so it just takes a few minutes. I'm just kind of push it through. Okay. My other 3 bags did this too. It took a little bit. It like crumples in on itself, so it's harder to flip it. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to take this turning system. I'm just going to kind of get these corners out a little bit. Be kind of careful not to poke through the fabric, but my hand doesn't reach all the way down there because this is longer. Okay, you're going to come over here like that all the way. I'm going to go ahead and flip there. Just get all your corners out, okay? Okay, like that. Looks great. Now your hole is right here. I'm going to go ahead and use that peel and press tape. It looks like this. Or peel and stick fabric fuse tape. The way you do that is you have these little lines right here. I just line up next to those lines. And you're just going to go ahead and put it right along those lines like this. I'm gonna just tear it. It tears. It's probably gonna stick to your fingers. Okay. I'm gonna head and fold that in to the hole. And you're gonna fold this side into the hole. This is why you have that extra fabric there. So you can kind of just sandwich it like that. So I'm gonna take a few of these Wonder Clips. I'm just gonna go like that so it kind of stays where I want it. Now, once this is pushed on, the sticky part of that side should basically adhere to that side of your fabric. And then when you peel it, you have the other sticky side. So I'm just gonna get it started. Okay, so I'm just peeling off and sticking those together, and I'm peeling off and sticking more together. And I do that. I do it a little bit at a time, and then the whole thing doesn't pull out and stick to your fingers, so it is a little more helpful. Okay, so then you can just push those together. You don't need your clips. Okay, like that. Now the hole's closed. There's no opening there now, so, and it looks great. Okay, now we are going to take off the stabilizer. This is tearaway, so the way I do it is I get it started by opening the zipper. If you didn't have that zipper open, you know, the step that we open the zipper, you wouldn't be able to open right here. So that step's really important. Okay, and there's a placement stitch right here. I'm just going to cut so I can get it up. And then I just try to tear this along the top. And try to get it clean like that. There. And then I'm going to pull this part down. See? You just want to get all this tearaway off so you don't see it, so your bag looks nice and clean. Okay. So I'm just going to pull it. I have to use my tweezers in some of that. Okay, like that. I'm going to cut any of these placement stitches that you have in a couple places. Now I need to get this excess right here off. Okay, a lot of people write messages in YouTube and asking where some of my materials come from. I try to tell you as we're doing the video, but as well, if you go at you're watching the YouTube video right now, underneath it should say my name, like it says like Angela Perry, I think. Underneath it says see more. If you click that see more, underneath there's a huge list of all the materials I use. Like if you're wondering where I get my stabilizer, if you're wondering where I get my scissors, if you're wondering where any of my stuff comes from, including the design link, it's all under there, and they're all links so they can bring you there. So please look there. Okay, so now we're going to flip through this hole right here. We got all that cleaned off. That's what it looks like right now. So go ahead and flip again. I'm just going to scoop this up. This clear vinyl kind of sticks to itself, so you kind of got to pull it. So I'm going to use my tool again. I'm just going to try to get these corners out. Okay, like this. Okay, there's my corner, there's my corner. Get this corner. And kind of flatten it out. Okay, get it all pretty like that. Okay, and there you are. There you have it. Here is your splash bag. It turned out super cute. There's your zipper, and you can put stuff in here. Like I'm gonna put this game. Okay, so if you are wanting it to hold a phone or something and be splash resistant, then you do need to use these fabrics that we used here. We used Pul, P-U-L, and we used the 12 gauge vinyl. Okay, If you don't care if it's not going to get wet and you just want like a peekaboo bag, then you can use any fabrics like I did on these other ones. Okay, I hope this helped you guys. I hope you guys make a bunch of cute ones and post them in the Parker on the Porch Facebook group. We always love to see what you guys are making. If you have any questions, go ahead and let me know. If you like my videos, go ahead and please subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and hit subscribe. If you want to be notified when a new video is made and uploaded, go ahead and click on the little bell. That will notify you when another video has been made. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much.